What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. In this video, I wanted to talk about a couple of small caps, give you my thoughts on them. We're going to look at a couple levels on the chart, and I'm going to tell you what I've been doing with them lately. Now, these are all going to be stocks that I do have a position in. Some are going to be smaller than others, but we're going to get right into them, and we're going to go into SENS, WORKHORSE, Astra, Mttr, and Bngo. And if you like these videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Definitely helps me out there. And if you're interested in some free crypto or stocks, I've got a bunch of links down below. Now, let's kick this video off, and let's start off with SENS. Now, looking at SENS, you'll see that we did break this ascending channel. Once it broke it, it fell quite a bit. Came to a support right around 150. We'll see if this holds. If it starts pulling back, you can expect right around 140 to be a next level of support. It was a previous support before it broke, and it also was a previous resistance before it broke out and went on a huge run. So I definitely think that $1.40 area is going to be a pivot point, and if we break it, we could fall considerably lower. Now, another thing to look out for, you can see starting to form, is this descending wedge. And descending wedges are bullish because typically they break to the upside. So we will probably at some point see a break to the upside unless we just break support and continue lower, finally break it down here and kind of trade sideways maybe. But I will be watching this descending wedge, and how I'm feeling about SENS lately is I'm very confident in it personally. I have no worries about it. I'm actually very excited for this one, and this is a long-term play for me. I have a pretty high conviction level for this one. Next up, I wanted to give you guys an update on Mttr, MTTR. I really don't talk about this one much, and part of the reason for that is I just really haven't been adding to it lately. I did kind of stop adding right around the $8 to the $10 area, and it just kept breaking supports, and I saw no reason to continue to add. You'll notice that this is one stock that in fact has come under its May 11 lows, and its most recent low point was in the beginning of July. And one thing that's a bit concerning for me is it did break this ascending trend line here, and it's very possible we start coming down, testing some lower levels. Now you will notice that the break of this downtrend that started here in March of 2022 did cause a nice little rally for a short period of time. Also, earnings came out, and while revenue missed, or EPS was a little better than expected, that caused a little bit of a pop too, and since then it has been selling off. I personally think that if we do break $4, we're going to come and test this 370 area next. Now, how I feel about Mttr, I really haven't been adding, and towards the end of the year, if I am still quite negative on it, I will take the tax loss and potentially add in the beginning of next year after 30 days to take advantage of taxes. Next up is going to be Astra, ASTR, and this is probably my least conviction of the bunch. Actually, this is my least conviction of the bunch, and it also risks potential delisting fears if it stays under $1 for too long. Now, one thing you'll see is it is in this downward channel, and it is near its all-time low. So I would be very careful with Astra, and I have no reason to think that this isn't going to potentially come to 50 cents. Now, just because I think that doesn't mean that's what it's going to do, but we really have no future levels of support until we start building them by finding them. Now, one huge negative is they missed EPS considerably. They also missed their revenue. They only got $2.5 million in revenue. They're expecting $6.5. If we do come up to the end of September and push 75 cents, it is possible we break out and have a little bit of a downtrend reversal, but this chart is definitely bearish, and I would expect it to continue down. I may be taking the L on this, very likely, and I probably won't get back in, to be honest. Next up, WORKHORSE. I definitely like this chart a lot better. You'll see since May 11, WORKHORSE has been trending up higher, has not broken any of those May 11 lows. And it's in this beautiful pattern here, this beautiful outward wedge pattern, I like to call it, which I think is good. And one thing you'll notice is it did break this recent downtrend reversal. That was only a few days, but that is nice to see the bulls continue to push this higher. And I do think it's going to be very important to watch this blue ascending line here. Now, I'm watching for WORKHORSE to break 350, because if it does break that, it's very likely to push farther. Once it breaks that point, it typically gets a good bit of range. Now, how do I feel about WORKHORSE? If I've held this long, why the heck wouldn't I hold a little bit longer? There's no reason on a chart standpoint for me to sell right now. It is not continuing to create lower lows, and in fact, it has been slowly trending higher. And believe it or not, it did double up at one point. It's pulled back a little bit, but it's still up very nicely from its lows, and it's got some serious recovering to do. Now, do I think it's going to go to 40 anytime soon? Of course not. I do not think it's going to go to 40 anytime soon, and they still have a lot to prove before you can even think about this breaking $10. But I'm definitely holding tight. I do believe in management. I do believe we're going to get some big news on the drones very soon, and we are going to see more of those trucks rolling out here. Next up is going to be Bngo, or Bio-Nanogenomics, and I gave you guys a recent video about this one. Now, we are at a pretty important area. If we do break this $2.10 area, very likely we come down and test this ascending line here. We are kind of overdue to come and test it. And this is another one that has not broken its May 11 lows, and Bngo in fact has actually almost 4x'd from its bottom. Bngo has almost 4x from its bottom. Now it's back down to $2, still doubled up almost. Still doubled up. Now, to push to the upside, it does have to break this like 275 area. If it can push that, it can definitely push higher. And just keep in mind, you know, that this is in a longer term downtrend. It's very possible we come up to this resistance point, start pushing down, and test these May 11 lows potentially. Now, how do I feel about Bngo? Honestly, of all the stocks on this list, I'd probably place this right in the middle. I don't have an extreme amount of conviction for this, but I also am not planning on selling this anytime soon. Their OGM, optical genome mapping, continues to show proof of its use cases, and the company continues to increase their revenue, and I do expect that to be the trajectory moving forward. A continued adoption of their Sapphire, their OGM, and continued revenue growth. And until that changes, I will not leave Bngo. But that is basically it for you guys today. Hope you have a great weekend. How do you feel about these stocks? Leave a comment down below. Which of these is your top pick, and what else are you watching in the market? Thanks as always, guys, and take it easy.